Hello and welcome to this issue of Candy Rat Guitar Lessons. In this class we're going to take a look at my arrangement of Fade to Black by Metallica. Alright, first thing, we're in standard tuning and a capo is needed for the introduction and solos in the 2nd fret. I do suggest you have a quick change capo because we're going to have to do just that within the performance of the song. Change from the 2nd fret, remove it, and then back to the 2nd fret again. Alright, let's start with our introduction. And keep a close eye on the tablature below, and feel free to pause the video as much as possible to kind of work on these different themes and sections. But for our introduction, first finger placed on that 2nd fret, string number 4, we're going to use our 3rd finger to reach up for the 3rd frets on strings 4 and 5. Notice that my thumb played strings 5 and my fingers alternated on string 4. Our next measure, we're going to replace our open string 5 with the 3rd fret on string 6 that I'm grabbing with my 2nd finger. The rest of that melody remained the same. That was measure number 3, identical to the first. Now we've got our 2nd finger free to come in on the 2nd fret on string 5. We're moving into measure number 4 here. So open strings below that. And our guitar solo begins with what looks to be a small A minor grip. With our 2nd finger, of course, a string higher. Alright, into guitar solo number 1 here. Now this solo, I pretty much placed just over 2 chords. I placed it over an A minor grip and a G grip. Now often I'm doing the Travis style alternating bass within those chords. That's over the A minor chord. I'm playing strings 5 and 4, right on quarter notes here. To the G grip, I'd alternate strings 6 and 4. So if you're looking at the tablature, if you see any notes on strings 6, 5, or 4, it's a good bet my thumb is playing that. Leave your fingers for the melodies below. Alright, let's tackle part of this guitar solo. First measure of the solo, over an A minor chord. We begin. We're either pinching the notes with the thumb or playing the notes in between with our fingers. So we start off with a pinch. You should work one beat at a time, meaning one bass note. There's beat number 1, move on to your next bass note. Notice I brought my first finger down. On to beat number 3. Reach up, again I pinch the notes together. I say pinch because it's how our fingers may come together like this, our thumb and index or thumb and middle, whatever it may be. Final beat, moving into our G grip, and to reach up to the 5th fret with my pinky, get my 2nd finger on that G on string 6, pinch those notes together. So it's a challenge kind of pivoting around that 2nd finger way up on the bass note there. Again, my thumb alternating strings 6 and 4. Back to an A minor chord. Start with a high pull from 5 and 3. Notice once I get back into the first position here, my 2nd finger comes down on that bass note there. Up to our G chord again, so almost like a G7 grip here. Notice my 4th finger getting the 3rd fret here. It's great if you see the grips kind of unfolding as you're going along. Really, it's only a couple chords. It's not as simple as I'm kind of making it out to be. It's actually quite challenging. But again, you form those grips as much as possible. We're now moving into a very fast 16th note phrase here, which I suggest that at the moment we should probably play this on its own without any bass notes. Reaching up to the 5th fret with my pinky. Do a pull to the open string. Come back and form the rest of your A minor chord. notice when I form that A minor chord that I use my third finger, much like when we're gripping the actual chord formation, leaving my second finger free to pivot under and get that first fret. Alright, adding in bass notes. No bass note with this guy because my second finger was free. Alright, so putting that up to tempo is a challenge. We have two pickup notes. Second finger comes under. More bass notes. Don't ignore the pulls and the hammers because they're very important for getting the legato sound, and they're really going to help you out. They may seem a bit more challenging at first, but they can make these passages a lot easier. Moving on, we got a G. This is the one measure where I throw a bass note on string number 5 for the G chord. Usually I'm alternating string 6 and 4 here. But the reason for that is because our melody has dropped way down to string number 4. So we got for our melody. So since our melody is on that string, I bring a lower bass note into play. There it is. A minor coming up. Again, work within the beats. Beat number 1. Beat number 2. 3. G chord again, much like our second measure of this solo, where I've really got that big stretch with my second finger on the bass note. A minor. Yeah, it's pretty much holding the grip there. G. Alright. Much like a power chord formation here, we're kind of doing this diminished chord grip. Don't play that bass note there. Got the first third and barring across, get the first again. Gonna move positions. This fourth, second, and third fret here is much like an F grip, if you're familiar with that. Exchanging strings here with fingers 2 and 3. Hold this note, and this is the point where we use our quick change skills and move that capo to fret. It's not over a fret actually. I just move that right over the nut of the guitar. It takes a bit of practice to do that quickly and cleanly. We're now into the verse. So getting our verse started, again A minor, C, G, and E minor. This is what this is all based on. Each chord sounding for a full measure. This isn't strict Travis style. I'm playing my bass notes here on string number 4 with my thumb, rolling my A minor chord into the C. Again, my thumb playing those bass notes on string 4. Seems to be a theme here. Bass notes on string 4 over the G chord. E minor chord. Slide into the 3rd and 4th fret. Notice again my 1st and 3rd finger playing this, not my 1st and 2nd. Reason being, I move back into my A minor chord. Alright, now let's take a look at the verse of this song. We're still using the same set of chords here, and I revert back to doing the Travis style alternating bass notes here within the chords, A minor. And notice alternating strings 5 and 4 for the A minor and the C. Strings 6 and 4 for the G and the E minor. So our melody over the A minor and the C. So pretty sparse melody, not much going on here. Our 2nd fret, string 3, open and 2nd fret on string 2, reach over. So now we've got to place that melody above our bass notes here. Now I do fill out the rest of this measure of C major with just some notes from our prior verse section. And now we're getting to the G and the E minor chord here. Again, we have a very sparse melody. Mostly open strings, open second and third string. Alright, again, placing that above our alternating bass notes. Now I add some bass notes to our conclusion to the verse, which is our open strings and then our third and fourth frets. I go open string 6, and then I add the fourth fret with the third and fourth frets down here. It's so much like an A minor grip. Move your second finger to string 6. Now we go through the verse for a second time with a slight variation over the C chord. And again, a slight variation over the G and E minor. We're halfway through the verse here, and essentially what happens is the melodies pretty much just repeat themselves. But what I decided to do is take our first melody, being this one, and move it an octave higher. So we end up playing an A minor chord in the 5th fret, and we play a C in the 8th fret, and then down to the 3rd fret with our G. So the A minor chord, much like if you're playing Stairway to Heaven or something, the alternating bass notes become strings 5 and 4 again, but I'm holding the 7th fret on string 4. Over the C grip, move my 3rd finger down from your traditional 5th fret, or 5th string rather, to the 4th, and bring your 4th finger way down to grab our melody in the 10th fret. That melody there, string number 2, hammer between the 8th and 10th fret, conclude with a harmonic on the 12th fret. It gives me a chance to move down and get our G chord. Sliding this interval here of the 5th frets on strings 3 and 1 back into an E minor. Alright, from there we go back and conclude our verse as we had played previously. And so forth. This gets us to the first power chord and percussion entry. Let's just go through these power chords. And I do some mute strings with my index finger, a down and up. Almost like a power chord here in the 3rd fret. 5th and 7th fret power chords. So this is pretty much straight out of the actual recorded version that Metallica did. But what I chose to do is to bring in the percussion here. So on the very first power chord, we're going to play that with our thumb, index, and middle. I'm going to bring down my wrist on the top side. You may notice that I've got some cushion here to kind of mute the sound. I found when recording without this that the bass was a little too boomy and overpowered our melodies. So that's pretty much what it is. It mutes or brings down the volume of the kick sound. So I do a kick and another kick onto that second power chord. There's a snare sound on the second power chord here, and I do that with my thumb and strum with my fingers at the same time. So I have our kick. If you're new to the kick snare technique, which I'm demonstrating here, you're going to have to take your time. This takes a while to kind of develop. Exactly the same rhythm here over the C power chord. Always that kind of rhythm with our kick snare technique. Alright, now from there we go back and we venture into yet again another guitar solo. And by this guitar solo, it's very similar to actually how I played a verse previously. So notice we were again 5th fret, A minor. I'd like to bring to your attention that rhythm I just played with the A minor. We strum the chord, thumb and 3 fingers, and then come through and play middle index and then the snare. We finish off with the bass note and then often melody. So, for example, here's the A minor, the E, or sorry, the C, G, E minor. Now within all that, there's some melodies kind of concluding each of these. Slide the bottom part of your G chord. Again, keeping those fingers kind of planted together to slide up, and hammer actually to the 2nd and then slide. Now amongst all this, on beats 1 here, I bring the kick sound into play, so right with our A minor chord, with the C. We repeat. I do some harmonics in the 12th fret to conclude this. Come down, grab my G, just with a hammer, and then come across and hit with my right hand the harmonics again. Into our E minor grip. From there, we're getting to the 2nd verse of the song, where I actually just repeat everything I played in the first verse, but I've added in the kick and the snare sound. You should practice maybe just going through these chords, A minor, C, and G, and applying the kick snare. For example, without any melody really. So again, you can bring all the fingers together with the kick, strum with the index, bring the snare down, and more strumming. This is essentially how I developed this technique, was more with the rhythm style, and slowly started to add in some melodic ideas within this. It took quite a while to develop and be able to use within my arrangements rather, but I find it's a great way to fill out the sound and be able to build the arrangement. Alright, let's move on now to the conclusion to the song, where we more of a power chord statement again. This is again pretty much straight out of the recorded version. I choose to do some hammers from open strings to my 7th fret power chord. That's the 10th and that's the 9th. My descending melody is different though. I choose to descend strings 5 and 4 here with thirds. And concluding with some open strings 3 and 2. The melodies here, when we get into the vocal parts, I placed over 2 chords, an E minor and a D. So grab your E minor chord, your first and second, and our fourth finger primarily plays the melodies here. Third fret and open string, third fret on string 2. So that again is a variation on this descending phrase, built over a D chord in the second position, like this kind of cage system of the D. Over the D, just add a pull with your first finger and arpeggiate from string 1 all the way up. Alright, more variations on our main theme. This time trying to capture some of the harmony guitar parts. So holding our third finger into the fourth fret on string number 4, we hammer around that. So I'm playing second and fifth frets. Big stretch here between 5 and 9, 4 and 7. This is a D/A. It's much like an A minor grip or E grip. Back to there. Now with all this happening, I do repeat it all, but the kick snare technique is going along the entire time. It's got to the point where I don't even think about it anymore, I just play. But you know, when I stop to think about it, it's kind of a challenging concept to put into place. So there, I played with my first set of hammers, the kick sound. Snare comes in right away. Thumb follows through and plays the bass note. And then the fingers come through and play the melody above. We repeat that kind of melodic idea. The melody changing. Now when we're alternating, I should say, down this melody. Typically I'm using my thumb and middle as 9 and, or 10 and 9, 9 and 7, 7 and 5, 5 and 4. Okay, almost bringing this to a close here. We have more of a power chord kind of conclusion over top of some palm muting and those kind of things. Now the power chords themselves here, I kind of demonstrate some palm muting. Instead of bringing the palm down, I just set my finger on the string down here very close to the nut. And again, the same. Alright, now, getting us into the final guitar solo, we've got to run over and grab our capo and place it back on the second fret. So that occurs when I'm holding this D power chord in the fifth fret. So we're doing a reach over, slide to fret number 2. And I do a little drum roll to get me rolling again. Bring your ring, middle, index. The left hand comes over, taps on the bottom side below the neck, kick sound, snare sound. Alright, now into the final statement. We have our so above a bass line kind of that descends and walks back up, we have this. So if I place that second fret, third fret, second on string 4, walk down, do a pull, and trying to maintain the chords on the lower side here. Over the last chord I add in an extra note on the string 3. So we do a full pass, and when we come through for the second time, I start to embellish that rhythm statement with some of the melodies that Kirk Hammett threw in there. Just a couple notes, kind of like we're playing an A minor grip here. So that's as far as we can get, and over the G chord. Now here I'm playing the upper strings, right? And a descending melody on string 5. Now here the melody is going to be really low over top of this F grip. There it is, a lot of third and second frets. Now here I'm holding the power chord, so so over the G, notice my third or second finger rather is holding the G, and my third and first finger are playing the melodies above. A minor grip. And just kind of a lot of lower tones here. Finally coming into the conclusion on our recorded version of. Very great exercise for getting some strength with our pinky. I'm pulling from 5 to 2, hammering back to the 2 on string number 4, keeping my bass note going along here. And then I move this entire grip down to make it the F on string number 4. And so forth. Good luck with the arrangement. It is quite challenging, and what can bring this whole thing to the next level is trying to add in the kick snare. So again, if that technique is foreign to you, I would leave that until the very end. Try to master this arrangement as you see it on the page, and then slowly add in the kick and the snare technique. Good luck, and feel free to ask any questions. You can catch my email, and we'll catch you next time.